Warning, this show contains adult content, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving it from surviving to thriving and living life raw. Today is, first of all, we're broadcasting live from my F-350 pickup truck on a work commute, so that's the background noise. Sorry for that. And today I just wanted to talk about, it's a thought that came over my mind as I was working in my farm today, was stop being used and abused, and how strange this is. This is a weird concept. In the digital world, like in YouTube and Facebook and things like that, is basically for content creators such as myself. What happens is it's called digital sharecropping. So YouTube invites people like us and other platforms, and we go and create a bunch of content on it. And when they decide that they're done with us, they can simply just shut us off, or they won't allow us to do anything further. And what's going on with this is that we help develop the apps, right? We've been giving them free content, working very hard. Let me explain to it this way. So you can imagine that you're a gardener and you don't have land, and you want to farm, right? You want to garden, just like I'm doing today. I'm farming on someone else's land that I don't own. It's called spin farming. In contrast to what I do, most other people, they grow in the ground. And so what happens is they go and they till up the soil and they put fertilizer and they work really hard and they mulch and they grow all of this stuff in there, and just makes it really, really beautiful. And then one day that person can tell you, the owner of the land could say, hey, you know what? We don't want to do this anymore. We need you to leave. So you pack up all your stuff and you go, and you leave with nothing. All of the fruits of your labor is for somebody else to gain on, and you get nothing in return. This is what kind of reminds me of this lifestyle design that we're living in. And this is the thought that I had today as I was working, was that a lot of us are doing this with our 9-to-5 jobs. We're going to work for somebody else who owns a business. We're giving our sometimes our lives, and hoping that we're gonna retire. We're also paying into taxes and things like that to the government, and the government and these businesses need people like us. And it's not so bad of an exchange, I think, other than I've known people who were getting close to retirement and companies let them go, and now they don't have a retirement and as much pension as what they thought. Pretty screwed up in my book. But so this is the things in life that I look at, this example. I don't want to get negative, but I think that we should definitely look into these things and get this kind of mindset moving forward. This shows a lot about how to live a better life, how to improve quality of life for the planet, and do good for nature. And I think that it just basically live really good. Like, what could we do so that we can live better and not screw ourselves over and screw the planet up and the people around us and everything? So when I look at this, I see that there could be a lot of confusion. There could be a lot of I don't know, like, we're just basically asleep, I would say, a lot of us. I think I want to do a podcast on what woke means to me. I know I got to look more into it, what that exactly means to most people. But basically, a lot of us are asleep, we're tired, and I don't blame us because we're really beaten down. A lot of people get up early to go to work. They got kids, they got bills, and it's like, we ain't got time to think. And I think that we need to open up and expand our minds with this to wonder, are you digital sharecropping? Are you giving to somebody else and making their life better while your life just barely sustains? That's what I like about the definition between sustainability and resilience. And that's what I like calling the resilient rebels, is what I consider myself. But sustainable is we're able to just hit like a point and sustain there. We don't go really up, we don't go down, it's just kind of sustained. Whereas resilience is when you, like a rubber band, you can stretch that thing and let go and snap it, and it just goes right back into place. It's got strength, it's got integrity. So I've got a couple things here, notes that I'm just shooting off the hip here today. But one of my notes is seeds, I guess, because I've been gardening and farming for so long here. And I look at seeds as if you were spin farming on somebody else's property and you were able to take your seeds with you. You gained a lot of seeds. There's something that you can get from that property, right? That spin farm site, that other person's property that you're farming on. So what are the little keys? And this is just as an example. I'm not necessarily just talking about seeds, but what could you do in your job and in your life to get metaphoric seeds that you can take with you? It goes into spirituality, it goes into your happiness, your health. What are things around you that you can take, that you can benefit as well? And I look at in jobs, some of my solutions, if you're a 9-to-5er, is you have the option. Most likely you're working for somebody else because you don't want to go through the hassle of starting your own business, or you think it's too hard, or it's just not for you. But instead of digital sharecropping and just being sustained at a job, you got 9-to-5, you make your beer money and barbecue money and whatever else that you got. Why don't you do have the choice to actually pick a job where you can learn from, right? So now we're looking at you're gaining skills, and there's many skills that you can get by getting jobs that are very hard, maybe very difficult, or things that you know that you will learn from. Maybe you'll take a drop in pay, but you are, in the long run, what you're doing is you're getting paid to learn. So when we look at these things, these are skills, and if you did multiple jobs and gained a lot of these skills, you would be able to work for somebody and make that much more money. I think the problem with most people when it comes down to money, in your job, your careers, is that they pick one and then they just stick with it. I would say it would be really wonderful if you were able to move around departments of that business. But that's kind of difficult, and I don't think that a manager or a business owner would be like, oh yeah, let's just keep moving you around, unless they were really smart and they looked at you and says, why do you want to do that? And you say, I just want to learn everything about this business, how it runs. I want to go from digging the ditches to actually driving the tractor and building the homes and leveling things off, things like that. I want to know this whole thing from inside out. That person would be smart. It would behoove them to allow you to move through these departments and get your experience, knowing that, hey, this person might want to be an asset to my company. But we're not talking really about being an asset to a company and that fact of that, utilizing this digital sharecropping idea and turning it around for your self benefit. I think a lot of us have been sold the idea on what life is through television and social media. I mean, it really disgusts me right now to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and they're so salesy, I really hope, comment below, upandinitshow@gmail.com. I hope that I'm not coming off like that. I want to be sincere. I mean, God, I think I would quit the show and just throw all this away in the trash if that's what I felt I was doing. But those people are it's like the soap operas and the Price is Right and what is those reality TV shows. It seems like there's just so much crap out there. I don't know. I don't understand it. But we're being robbed of our spirituality and everything. And I think that I don't really know what to say as far as digital cropping is that, other than it's in your mind. And what's happening is some of this stuff is funny. It's fart jokes and things like that. And these people are very, very conniving and smart. They know through color. I think it was something I saw that there's this rhythmic beat that they use on like Justin Bieber's or Bieber. I can't remember, Bieber or whatever. Basically, I don't know nothing of him, but other than the song had this rhythmic beat that keeps you entranced. And they use the same background beat to keep people just glued to the music. So different artists, they all had the same thing. They come up with formulas. And I don't think that necessarily we're being robbed. We're just kind of being tricked. And I think that's where woke for me kind of means, is that you wake up from all this stuff and you start seeing these things and you go, no, that's not what, I'm not saying all this stuff is bad, fart jokes and stuff like that. I love getting down and dirty and nasty. The nastier, more horrific in a comedy way, the better. Life sucks, man. We gotta laugh. That's why I try to keep throwing some funnies in this show every once in a while. Just, who gives a shit? Just go for it. Have fun, man. But I don't know. We need to be careful because our minds are being used. We're being digital sharecropped by paying attention to these things, by buying into these things. By, rich people don't get rich by just, someone who started out, not someone who's just handed a bunch of fucking money. But rich people, well-to-do people don't get rich just by spending or buying cheap shit and stuff like that. They really invest. They get very savvy. They educate themselves. And I think that they fill their minds up with other things than these sitcoms So they're not allowing their minds to be digital sharecropped. I feel the same thing for myself. My time is very valuable. My brain, the thoughts that go in my head. So the gist on this is what I look is that when I see some of these little funny things, these little GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to call them, my mind will keep thinking of it. And worse than that is one of those horrible like death things, like someone being raped or murdered or something with children. Like it's so horrible, like I can't get it out of my mind, and I can't stop thinking about it, when I should be thinking of other things. How can I help myself? How can I help people? How can I make my garden better? How can I make more money with less effort? What do I want out of life, you know? And what am I doing? What can I do better? Instead of thinking of all this other shit. So I thought it was very important. I know this is kind of almost off topic, but I don't think it is. I think that it's very relevant to the subject matter of the Up and In It show. The other thing is community. I've got on my notes here. And what I like to call all of these things is like an invisible, untouchable wealth. There's a lot of these things that we are able to accumulate that aren't taxable. I spoke yesterday on community and how I'm bringing some community, some things together it's snowballing into all kinds of different opportunities for me. The best thing is that I can look at it that I'm helping people, and people are more than happy to join. This could turn into a business. You guys should take a listen to it. I look at this though, creating community as one of the best things we can do around us is be resilient or sustainable, whichever you prefer. But there's no taxation on this thing. There's no digital sharecropping. There's nobody who can come and intervene with a community. If we trade amongst ourselves with time, with gifts, with knowledge and experience, trading goods with each other, we don't. This defies everything that the government and the world at large, I guess, that the way they have things, the big guys upstairs, right, has everything. It goes against everything that they have because it's untouchable and it's unseen. And there's ways to utilize. So as I speak a lot about a lesson in martial arts, one of the first things they teach you is that when somebody's throwing a blow, when somebody comes to hit you, the best thing to do is divert that energy and put it back on themselves. Don't waste your own. So the way I look at this is they've got things like social media. Like I said yesterday, I use Facebook for groups. I go visit these groups and I start making conversations. I made a video and I start talking about how I can make some really cool things happen. If people are interested, you know, come join my group or let me know what you think. So I'm utilizing a platform that normally is digital sharecropping me, but now I'm taking from it. And this is very powerful, I think, in our lives to start thinking in these terms. The government, you know, it's us and them, you know. People think that way, that they're getting, and in a lot of ways it's true. They are taking from you. But how can you utilize what they're throwing on you? How can you put that energy back and actually go start taking things for yourself? One of my big thoughts I've had in a while, I'm not sure, I don't think I've done a show on it, but I call it this, is basically there's an engine, right? There's a monster. There's Monsanto screwing the farmlands up, and there's government doing this, and the media is doing this, and they're doing that. What I look at is to understand the motors, the mechanics of these things. Watch the monster, how it moves, what it does, what's habitat does it live in, how does it eat, what energies does it need, how does it talk, how does it look, smell, feel, most of all, how does it operate? And can I mimic that and flip that around to work in my favor or work for favor of the world, of your friends, whatever has you. But what's nice about these things, as I said, these are very calculated moves through vision, through sight and sound, through tempo of music, tempos. They've got the flashing and the quickness. I think it's TikTok right now, how it's just flashing. Like there's just one thing after another. I find myself getting addicted. Next thing I know, I'm like 20, 30 minutes later, I'm coming up and I'm like, what the hell did I just learn or see? You know, I just watched a bunch of crap. They know how to get you. But what's neat about this, to turn everything around in a positive, as I always like to do on the show, is let's take a look at that now. It's been tried and tested and it works. And then I know through what TikTok is doing that it worked on me. How can I utilize what TikTok did to me and utilize that for greater good? So you get what I'm saying. I hope I explained that correctly. It is said that I explain myself horribly And some people say I shouldn't even do a podcast right now, but I just figure I'm practicing. I love to get my messages out. I have thoughts all the time ringing in my mind, such as these ones. And I don't know, I feel it could be of interest to some people. But the practice, maybe my message will get out a little better as I keep going forward. I'd really like to know how I'm doing. You can message me at upandinitshow@gmail.com. Let me know what you think. If you got any thoughts of your own and on the subject matter. But that's the show, guys. I got to cut it early. I'm sorry for all that. I have to go, and it's growing season for me. The next week to 2 weeks, I'm going to do short shows like this. I got to get planting before spring gets here, and I'm going to produce more of my own food, and I'm going a lot larger scale. So thank you guys so much for watching. It really helped me out. Notice I didn't ask for anything in the beginning because I think that's bullshit. That's salesy stuff. See? That's sales stuff. It really would help me out though if you guys just give me a review, like stars, give me a thumbs up, whatever, because it keeps the show going so we can get some momentum here. So as I always say, you can check out the show at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere where there's podcasts. And I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.